3 years ago, I had L4, L5 spine surgery, and I shared a YouTube video with my 1 year update, just explaining the surgery and how I had gone over that first year. And that video has got nearly 30,000 views, which is super awesome. And I've got a bunch of questions from everyone asking if I'm still in pain, do I have foot drop, what's happening with my back now, what's my life like now, and what's happening with my hip. So I'm going to go through and explain what the last 3 years have been like, and I'll answer a bunch of questions. And also, like always, if you have any other questions, make sure you drop them down in the comments box below. So in December 2022, I was in Australia visiting my family for the holidays, and I woke up one morning and my back was so sore. Like, it was so painful. And I just kind of was like, this is like a lot, but I'd just flown like, I don't know, 16 hours or something from LA to Brisbane. And, I was sleeping in an Airbnb, so I was in a different bed. So I just kind of assumed it was that. Unfortunately, it wasn't that. The pain didn't go away over the day or a couple of days. It actually got worse and worse and worse. So I ended up going to see a doctor while I was in Australia. They did a few little tests, gave me some light medication for pain, and basically said, look, when you get back home to San Diego, just, go to your doctors there and sort of get a full checkup. I was going home after a couple of days anyway, so that was fine. So I get back to the US, they do an X-ray that shows nothing. They do an MRI, and that's where you can see what my spine looked like. So here you can see my L4, L5 is completely herniated, and you can see that my spinal cord is like completely crushed. So that is what actually caused a ton of numbness in my right leg, and also my foot, so the top of my foot and the side of my foot. And I actually had really bad foot drop. So my surgeon actually said that due to the level of the foot drop that I had, PT wasn't going to help and surgery was really the only option. So I get the L4, L5 surgery, and I documented everything in this video here. You'll see it linked here and also down in the description box below. And in that video, I go through like everything, like the couple of weeks leading up to the surgery, surgery day, and then everything sort of for the first year. So if you haven't watched that yet, go and watch that video and then come back to my 3-year sort of update. So the first few months, the first year was obviously the hardest. The second year was pretty good. Back to work, back to life like normal. My back pain has reduced. The incision has healed up perfectly, looks really good now. And I just feel stronger and better overall, but my nerve pain is still a problem for me. I still have to take Gabapentin 3 times a day. I take 300 milligrams, and I still have a ton of weakness in my ankle. And over the past few years, I've also lost a ton of weight. I've actually in total now lost 120 pounds. And I really feel like that has also helped my recovery, because I've actually been able to take a lot of weight off my joints, off my spine, off my bones. And then I had a flare up, and that was because I was dog sitting my friend's dog. It was actually quite a big dog, and I think maybe like 60 pounds or something. And I was walking the dog, and the dog just like took off and like really like pulled and yanked me. And I don't know what happened, but I was certain that I had seriously like hurt myself. And I was certain that I needed to have another spine surgery, because my back was just so painful, like back to the pain I had when I first herniated the disc. My numbness in my right leg just flared right up. I was limping around again. I didn't have like the full foot drop like I did originally, but I was limping again. I was holding the walls as I was walking. Like, it was bad. I was convinced I needed another surgery. So I saw my doctor again and said, look, this is what happened. He didn't end up doing an MRI. I don't know. He just didn't think it was necessary. I don't know why. But he just said, look, basically just rest. So that's what I did. I rested for around 3 to 4 weeks. I just tried to like change my work and stuff so I could like, be doing things on the computer or laying down doing things. But my back, honestly, it was so, so bad. Like I said, I was convinced I needed another surgery. It just reminded me of like how aware I have to be of my spine now. And I told my friend, sorry, can't look after your big dog anymore. I'll stick with my tiny little 8-pound chihuahua. No 50, 60, 70-pound dogs, no heavy lifting furniture, nothing like that for me personally anymore. Now, something that I didn't really touch on in my first video, like my first year, and that is actually the mental impact, the emotional impact having the spine surgery has actually had on me. So for years, I've been a content creator. I have been sharing since around 2016, primarily on Instagram, TikTok, and, dabbling here on YouTube. And I actually found that due to the spine surgery, I wasn't able to do my job because what I was sharing was cooking videos. So I was in the kitchen cooking, cleaning, bending over, taking photos and doing like crazy angles to get, the right shot. And I simply couldn't do it anymore. I found it really, really challenging. So, I gave myself like really light kind of duties in terms of that sort of side of things for the first like 3 months or so. And I did get back to work eventually, but I looked at different options like getting people to help me, altering my content, doing different sort of content so I could have plenty of time to rest and wouldn't have to be like spending hours and hours in the kitchen for a 7-second video. Like the math wasn't mathing, And unfortunately, because like I just wasn't like working at the same sort of capacity that I was before my spine surgery, my agency actually cut me. They didn't want to work with me anymore. So that was really, really difficult because, they knew that I just had the spine surgery just like 3 months before. They gave me like a little bit of a break, like a few weeks, but they really didn't really, give me too much more of a break after the 3-month period. They were kind of like, we need you to be posting, we need you to like get the numbers up, all of that sort of thing. Otherwise, we're going to have to let you go, which they let me go. So that was actually really, really devastating. Like, I understand they're running a business and I wasn't performing like they wanted me to. So I get it from a business perspective, but I just kind of would have liked, a little bit more time to sort of get myself like back to where I was. So that whole period was really, really hard for me. And I feel like I had a bit of an identity shift because as much as I was trying to keep posting this food content, it just was so challenging for me physically. And then when I got cut by my agency, it was just like a big blow to my self-confidence. So I ended up trying to like switch up my content, and I started to try and do like more lifestyle content, skincare content, that type of thing, because that was something I could do mainly like sitting. So skincare, I can do my makeup, I can do skincare, talk about things sitting, talking to the camera, because that was less bending over, less, movements. So I don't know if you've experienced that sort of thing yourself, where you've noticed that after the surgery, you just can't do things the same as you could before. And if you had to adjust your work or different things in your life, drop me a comment, let me know like how that side of things worked for you. And another thing I experienced during my recovery, especially in the first year, a year and a half, was just feeling so isolated, because people I felt just didn't really understand what had happened. Like, to look at me, I kind of just looked fine, like nothing had happened, because I just had like this thing in my back. You can't see it when you look at me, right? So people I felt just weren't very empathetic, weren't very sympathetic, weren't very understanding. So when I would be like, sorry, I can't go out tonight, they kind of look at me and just go, "What are you talking about? You look fine." Like they wouldn't say those words, but that's kind of how I felt. I don't know. It was a really, really hard and weird time for me. I just felt like a big part of my life had changed because I couldn't do everything that I could before. I lost a lot of my like online friends through my social media life. And then I kind of felt like a lot of my relationships in real life kind of switched and changed up a little bit too. I sort of lost some friends. Not that I like anything bad happened, but we just stopped connecting because our activities, our different like hangouts changed. And I guess in a lot of people's minds, whether it's like conscious or like subconscious, I think people think, oh, you've had the surgery, you're all fixed now, you look fine, so everything's good, back to like normal. But, like recovery actually takes a long time physically. And, I've still got pain in my back. I've still got spinal degeneration and, spinal stenosis. I still have numbness in my leg and very weak ankle and things like that. And emotionally, I've also taken a long time to recover. So I'm still recovering. And I feel like people just don't see that. I think people think you've had the surgery, so now you're fine. So again, just drop any thoughts, any comments down the comments box below if you've noticed a shift in your friendships and things like that. Is it just me? I don't know. Okay, so what everyone's probably wondering is, was my L4, L5 surgery actually worth it? And I would say, yes, it absolutely was worth it for me because I simply couldn't really walk properly because of so much like pain in my right leg and the foot drop. The foot drop, I was pretty much like dragging my foot, tripping over all the time. So it was definitely necessary for my foot drop. So now I can walk like normal. Like I said, I still have like weakness in my ankle, but I'm not tripping over all the time. And I actually can feel my foot and my leg now. Whereas before that was like, couldn't really. So yes, it was definitely worth it for me. So I'll answer a couple of questions that I got from my previous video. So a lot of people were asking about pain and what my pain is like now. So I would say that I had a lot of pain in the first 3 months, first 6 months, the first year. It slowly started to get less and less and less. I was treating it with THC because I'm opioid resistant and I can't take NSAIDs. So for the most part, my pain is under control. I would say that I still have some back pain, but I still have other like spine issues, like the L5S1 is sort of, I think, maybe going to need a surgery there eventually. That's kind of what my surgeon was alluding to when I went and had a checkup. And also, like, I've got spinal stenosis and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, I do have some back pain, but I don't think that it's really from the L4, L5 anymore. That sort of side of things is really like pretty good in terms of my back pain. Now, let's talk about the numbness, because that was a question a lot of people asked me about, was how's the numbness in my leg going, my foot drop, all of that. So that is something that is ongoing. Like I said, I am taking Gabapentin still 3 times a day. But, it is still numb in my right leg, my ankle, top and side of my foot. But it's nothing like it was back in, day 1, month 1, anything like that. It's not the same as it was. The foot drop has actually been resolved by the spine surgery. So that's really, really good. No foot drop anymore. I do just have the numbness and the weakness in the ankle. So even though I do the PT exercises at home now, still strengthening everything, trying to stay active, I've lost a ton of weight, like all these things, it hasn't like resolved the numbness in my leg and, ankle weakness. So I guess that'll just maybe like be my normal. Or maybe it just takes even longer to just slowly, those nerves just take forever to heal. I don't really know. And the doctors kind of don't really know either. They just sort of say everyone's different, with their recovery and stuff like that. But honestly, for me, it's totally manageable. Some days I even forget about it because I'm just so used to it, you know? So overall, yes, I still have numbness and weakness in my ankle, but no foot drop anymore. So a couple of people commented on my hospital stay or lack thereof. So I actually had the surgery at Scripps in La Jolla here in San Diego. And yeah, here the L4, L5 spine herniated disc surgery is an outpatient surgery. So you just go in, have your pre-op, have your surgery, which I think was about an hour and a half. And then your post-op, let me wake up from the anesthesia. I was barely awake. And my husband's like putting me in the car. So I was like, what? I swear I just had the surgery and I'm already back in the car. So honestly, it has been a lot for me personally. Like, I know when I was reading the comments of my video, some people are like, the surgery was so easy for me. I just went in, had it done and recovered and I'd moved on with my life. And then there was other people that were saying, no, like I've had all these other issues. It was painful. It was a lot. And I think I fall somewhere in the middle there where it was a lot. And my recovery was, I don't know, I think it was slower than I anticipated, physically and mentally. I guess I didn't expect the mental, the emotional side that came with it. Like, it's a lot to have spine surgery. It's a lot. Like, it's scary. It's a scary surgery. So it's officially 3 years since I had my L4, L5 spine surgery. So now I'm just more mindful of my spine. I'm just try to stay active. I try to like live my life, but I've modified some of my activities. I am no longer walking these really big, heavy, pulling dogs. I'm not lifting heavy furniture. I'm being more like mindful of how I bend and move my body. I try to stay active. I walk my dog a lot. I love to go for walks by the beach. We have a beautiful beach here in San Diego in Southern California. So I always want to like try and make the most of that. I still have pain in my body. I still have back pain because I've got the L5 S1 that I might need a surgery on eventually. And, I have pain there. I've got the spinal stenosis, all of that sort of thing. And I've also got hip pain. So I do need to get a hip replacement in the next few years. So I don't know when that's going to happen. My hip surgeon just said, you'll know when the time's right. So I rest when I need to. And I'm just trying to live my life as best and as actively and as engaged as I can. So that's kind of where I'm up to 3 years post L4, L5 spine surgery. So if you've got any other questions, drop them down in the comments box below. Be super happy to answer any questions you've got, based on my experience. So if you've got a spine surgery coming up or you're just recovering for one, I honestly really deeply wish you the best with your recovery. Everyone's recovery is completely different. You might recover quicker, you may recover slower, you might have different feelings and things that happen during your recovery. So I honestly wish you the very, very best. This is super, super hard. Not everyone goes through having a spine surgery. So be good to yourself and just know that there's other people around that understand what you're going through, in this online community. So I hope this video was helpful and I'll see you in the next video.